Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, go ahead, shoot me a quick call, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. This code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I'm not sure about you, but, outside of sports, I like music. So there's some concerts going on. My guy Wale, he's about to go on tour. There's a lot of artists out there, so you better go ahead and scoop up one of your tickets and get the discount. Now, I know this is a sports show, so of course we got to talk about that. And I was amazed. Y'all know I usually try not to buy into any of the hype, right? Like whenever, stuff is going on in a sports world, I'm like trying to always be the last person to believe in any of the hype that's going on with any particular player, any particular team. I don't know why, but that's just my flow. That's how I've been. But I gotta say, I am getting convinced every single preseason game by Caleb Williams that this man is about to be 100% legit, bro. This dude is a baller, dog. Now we already knew he was nice at USC, seen the type of throws he made, and I get it's preseason, but damn it, I can't help but to buy into the hype because these throws he's making is insane. Like, back leg across the body on a run, like dumping it exactly where it needs to be. It's insane. His awareness, his patience in the pocket, his pocket presence, all of that stuff, his accuracy whenever he's throwing the ball downfield. He sees the field very well, sees all of his options when he's throwing the ball and surveying the defense. So I just can't help but to kind of get a little bit excited seeing what Caleb Williams is doing so far for the Bears because, a lot of guys aren't that successful at being the number one pick. It's tough. And with Caleb Williams, I think he's in a very unique situation. Above all, he'll either be a great quarterback this season, and just this season, he'll either be a great quarterback, lives up to all the hype, reaching all the standards that everyone put up there for him, showing everybody okay, this guy really might be the next Pat Mahomes or whatever you want to compare him to. He'll either live all the way up to every single hype that he has and be one of the greatest quarterbacks to come up next, or he's going to be a great talent and a turnover machine. Because, you got to keep in mind, a lot of guys at this age that he is of 23, 24, whatever it is, in that young age of first year going into the NFL, throwing the ball, a lot of guys have trouble, finding their guys through a defense. And then when people who've been in the NFL 4 or 5 years, been playing quarterback, and they still struggle with throwing on the run and getting it to the receiver accurately, it just tells me that what Caleb Williams is doing is going to be some sort of a risk. Like him getting out the pocket, making these back leg throws and these crossbody throws on the run, that's not easy. We still see Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, even Patrick Mahomes still throwing crazy amount of interceptions when attempting these type of passes. And those guys are all great talents, but they were also top 5 in interceptions last year. So yes, it can be done. And I know Caleb Williams can do it. Clearly he's shown he can do it, but it's just the fact that, is he going to be a turnover machine when these things happen? Because we haven't seen that in the preseason, but also keep in mind, you got stars on other teams' defenses who are not playing. You got guys who know how to read plays up and down, who know how to read the quarterback up and down. They're not playing right now. Defensive backs, top 5, top 10 in interceptions, they're not playing right now. The pass rush is not going to be as strong because guys aren't at full strength when you're going against these teams. So you got to keep that in mind, but again, I 1,000% expect Caleb Williams to give us more plays like the ones we've seen, these crossbody throws and just putting it right where it needs to be on the run. But above all, I would be even more impressed if he does this and continues to limit his amount of turnovers, because that's what's really going to be the secret sauce right there. A lot of guys can make these throws, and we pick and choose when we want to get hype. Unfortunately, I don't know why, media does that, but guys like Caleb Williams, Pat Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, the thing that separates all of them from Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson is the fact that those guys, Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, can throw on a run and they limit their turnovers. They limit the amount of interceptions, the fumbles, and all of the silly things that they have. And that's a huge deal breaker right there. But ultimately, I think the Bears are going to be in good shape. I mean, judging from the preseason and looking at the pieces they picked up on the offseason, I think the defense is going to somewhat hold up their own. They brought back their linebackers, Tremont Edmonds and TJ Walker. Those guys are going to be a huge help. And above all, man, they got a new defensive coordinator. It's kind of some things up in the air. But the last thing I'm worried about, I mentioned the defense just because the last thing I'm worried about is the offense and what they can do. I'm sure we're going to see the Bears score the ball. That's going to be the main source of entertainment, is watching the Bears offense go to work with Caleb Williams and all the receiver options there. But the main thing is that defense going to really step up to the plate and make something happen, because you just never know. You never know. And we've seen over the course of the past few years, that's been the case, where the defense has struggled and the offense just so happened to struggle as well. So we'll see. But I guess you can say I'm buying into the hype. I guess you can say I've officially bought into the hype of Caleb Williams and what he can do, because this is insane. Watching these throws that he's making is insane, man. Not a lot of guys can do it, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot to actually be able to do it in the game, man? Like, it's crazy. So other than that, look, man, we got a voicemail call here because I was talking some trash about Dak Prescott, and, it wasn't sitting right with everybody who heard it. So I got the voicemail here. He had to go ahead and say something, get it off his chest regarding my comments toward Dak Prescott being a top 5 quarterback. Here it is. Let's hear what he had to say.
What's going on, Manny? This is JB. I've been on your show before.
What's the deal?
I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I wanted to chime in on the Dak Prescott elite conversation you were having. My humble opinion, Dak Prescott, as well as the Dallas Cowboys organization, are overrated. In the past 7 to 8 years, Dak has a 2-5 playoff record. So I know you had mentioned that he has more touchdowns, more yards, better completion percentage, less interceptions than quarterbacks such as Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. But he doesn't have the playoff success that those guys have. I look at his playoff resume. I see a lot of one touchdown performances. He's never gotten past the divisional round. So that's why I feel like Dak Prescott is overrated. At the end of the day, it falls on the quarterback to help push and propel your team to the playoffs. You should get better as the playoffs come around. Your stats shouldn't shrink once you get to the playoffs. Yeah, that was my time. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you know what? Facts. You speaking facts on there, JB. I appreciate that. Okay, so look, man, here's how I'm going to address that, because there was a lot of facts about the playoff performances. That's usually where we always give Dak a lot of hell, from his playoff performances. As you just mentioned, they've been shit. He has not been able to win in the playoffs. The Cowboys haven't had a playoff win in years, I think maybe even a decade or so. But they've been bad for some time every time they show up in the playoffs. However, the only thing I can mention in that conversation of what he does in the postseason, I don't think it's all on him. I think it's part of the team. And you look at last year's game when him and CeeDee Lamb was just not on the same page. They did not get it cooking together. And you can't fully blame Dak for that. You can't fully blame CeeDee Lamb, because it was just clear that guys just weren't on the same page. People were running the wrong routes outside of CeeDee Lamb. But obviously, it's harder for Dak to target those guys and get the ball where it needs to be if, people are running the wrong routes and the game is just not flowing on all cylinders for everyone else. It'd be different if Dak was missing wide open throws. or he was just overthrowing these wide open touchdown balls. That would be different. Then I wouldn't have anything to say. And while that may have happened on a play or two, that's not usually the case, or that wasn't the case throughout the game that we've seen. And especially in these playoff performances, that definitely wasn't the case. It's usually always an additional factor to Dak playing bad, whether it's guys dropping passes, running the wrong routes, the O-line not being there, or the defense giving up more points than what the offense can produce. So I 100% agree. Hey, playoff wins is important. You need those. I mean, you shouldn't be considered a great quarterback if you're not winning, but also I disagree with that logic all the time, because then that we kind of fall into a slippery slope of, is Aaron Rodgers a GOAT? Because he's only had one Super Bowl win, and Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl wins. Like, then we kind of get into that debate, because even though Aaron Rodgers hasn't been winning as much as Tom Brady, he damn sure has just enough skill. So I can't help but to think about that when I'm saying, all right, well, this guy doesn't have the playoff wins behind it. He's not winning in the postseason to really help his team. It's hard to go down that slippery slope. But again, I understand what you mean to your point of you got to win as a quarterback. And no way in hell will I ever put him over Pat Mahomes, or if I had to start a franchise, I'm not taking him over Joe Burrow and a lot of other guys in the league, maybe from how I would want to run my offense. But based on last season and the production that he's been having over the course of the past maybe 3 to 4 years, Dak has, skill-wise, he's up there in the top 5 based on last season and coming into this upcoming NFL season. I still stand on it. That he's a top 5 quarterback. So, that's just my thoughts, but that was a great perspective, JB. I, of course, appreciate you calling. Anybody heard this and they're like, you know what, I want to chime in on, is Dak a top 5 quarterback, and who else is a top 5 quarterback? Go ahead, shoot us a quick take. 219-413-9405. Go ahead, call us, and then, of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. But anyway, look, man, we got some stuff coming up. Got a side note about some Netflix show called Receiver. And then also, too, San Francisco 49ers Brandon Ayuk, he has requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. So we'll touch on that in just a second. Don't go anywhere. It's halftime. We'll be right back. You got to help me out, because I've been cheering for too many teams, bro. I really think I might be a bandwagon. I don't know if I'm a bandwagon. I'm a firm believer that I'm not a bandwagon. I've been saying, I'm not a bandwagon at all. I got teams that I cheer for. I have my team that I abide by and the team that I stand by, So if you ask me, somebody asks, hey, who's your favorite NFL team? I'm going to tell you who it is. I'm like, yeah, I rock with the Atlanta Falcons. But here's where I think I'm a bandwagon. Because I cheer for my hometown team, true hometown team, Detroit Lions. Then I cheer for my other hometown team now, the Chicago Bears. And then I'm like, oh, damn, I like the Ravens. They got the Lamar Jackson, the black quarterback. I need Lamar Jackson to thrive, different type of play style. Oh, damn, I like the Baltimore Ravens. And then I look up, I'm like, damn, bruh, Pat Mahomes, what he doing over there is just really, really good, bro. Pat Mahomes is just one of the best quarterbacks ever in the NFL that I've witnessed. So I'm like, damn, how can you not like Pat Mahomes? I don't cheer for the Chiefs, but it's like, you want him to have success. So that's like 5 teams that I've named, bro. I'm in a dilemma here, and I'm not trying to be no bandwagon. And it's just really because I like NFL teams. I like good football. So if a team is playing good football, I'm going to just cheer and hope that they continue to play good football. There's nothing about me cheering for every single team in the NFL. And I try not to, bro. I promise I'm not out here, really jumping on bandwagon to bandwagon. I promise I'm not James Harden of the NBA. I'm telling you that right now. There's no way I'm really doing all of that. I just like multiple teams, bro. Can you blame me? Am I wrong for that? Like, am I wrong for really, cheering for good football teams and hoping that these good football teams continue to play good football? Not that I'm saying, I'm riding with Cleveland because they're good, or I'm riding with San Francisco because they're good, or I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon of the Lions because they're good. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, like, if the Tennessee Titans are playing good football, I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna embrace that they playing good football, bro. That's it. What's wrong with me embracing that they playing good football? And I think this is actually, I think this is actually one of the best ways to have it, bro. Truth be told, because look, what if I was a real bandwagon, or what if I did have a fan? Then y'all might hear a lot more biases in the takes that I give. But because I like good football, I call it even, I call it straight about who's playing good football, who's not playing good football. I think this really helps me out in terms of giving y'all unbiased takes. You know what I'm saying, bro? Because let's say, like I said, I like the Falcons, they're trash right now, but I'm not biased to the fact that they're trash. So you will never hear me sitting here talking about, oh, the Falcons are the best team in the world right now, even though they're 4-14. Like, nah, you're not gonna, you ain't gonna hear me saying nothing like that. I'm gonna call it even. If they bad, they bad. If the Lions are good, they're good. If they're good to an extent, I'm gonna say they're good to an extent. It ain't nothing about being no bandwagon. I'm just saying, I like good football. So if a team's playing good football, I'm gonna acknowledge that they're playing good football. Is that too hard to respect? You get what I'm saying, bro? It can't be that hard to respect, you know? I don't think I'm a bandwagon. Now, I will say with other sports, I do have my select favorites. Like in the NBA, I'm a diehard Pistons fan. I represent as a diehard Pistons fan. I will always rep the Pistons no matter what goes on with the Detroit Pistons. They will always be my number one team, no matter what. They're always going to be my number one team. But outside of the Pistons, I do have a secondary hometown team. They'll never, ever surpass the Pistons just because of the impact the Pistons done had on me. Because, I mean, even though I live over here where it's Bulls County, Bull Nation, all of that stuff, you know, Chicago Bulls, they will never, ever, ever surpass what the Pistons did to me through my childhood. That sounds wild. That sounds wild. But the impact the Pistons have brought to me as a child, it would never surpass that feeling. Even if they won a championship, I would say, okay, Bulls are a good team. You'll see me in a Bulls hat, Bulls gear, whatever. But, you know, sometimes I just do that just to match the outfit. That ain't nothing. But deep down, I'm going to always say the Pistons is the best team. With the NFL, I just don't have that type of attachment, I guess. I mean, I like good football. I'm a fan of the sport. I'm a fan of watching different players thrive in the NFL. I'm just rooting for everybody in the NFL. So, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just I don't have that type of attachment. So, I guess the result of that is me potentially being a bandwagon. But you will never see me jump bandwagon to bandwagon. I'll put it that way. I'll keep it at that. So, hey, look, if I'm wrong, you got to tell me I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm a bandwagon fan or not. 219-413-9405. I need to hear it. Am I a bandwagon fan? Because I like to believe that I'm not. I like to think that I'm not a bandwagon. Just because I'm a fan of the sport. So I'm going to just call it even. And I'm going to cheer for, you know, whoever I think has the best team at that specific time. Not saying I'm a fan of them, but I'm going to just cheer for them. I just don't have that type of attachment to the NFL like I have with other sports in the NBA, like the Pistons and stuff like that. But I don't think that makes me so bad that I'm going to just call it even and call it straight. Because I see good football out there and I can predict and say who's the best, who's not the best and all of that stuff. But I don't know. You got to let me know. 219-413-9405. All right. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've been a hot topic lately, man. So the Steelers, they're trying to find out who's going to be their starting quarterback between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Now, one of these guys got a Super Bowl ring. He's a Super Bowl champion, all of that. We know the story of Russell Wilson. We know what he's done in the NFL. And then Justin Fields, a younger guy, didn't really get much of a chance with the Chicago Bears, but now he has his chance with the Pittsburgh Steelers to become a starting quarterback. And I'm hearing a lot of nonsense regarding the matter of the Steelers in terms of their season being over and the season just being tossed in the trash and just stuff like that. It's nonsense. Because, I mean, I get, you know, they don't have Tom Brady at quarterback, or they don't have Aaron Rodgers, or hell, they ain't even got Caleb Williams. But damn, we gonna really sit here and act like the Steelers quarterback options are terrible? We gonna act like they playing with a Daniel Jones or a Zach Wilson? That's just so disrespectful to these two because, you know, we know Russell Wilson, he's not a quarterback that we've seen in Seattle. He's not that guy anymore, but he's still a damn good quarterback in the NFL because he threw for more touchdown passes than Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, while throwing less interceptions than two of those three names. So this guy still has some kick in his game. He was just poorly misguided all last season. He had to pivot in the middle of the season because they got a new head coach with the Broncos. And then how can you get a rhythm when your coach literally does not want you to play in order to receive a bonus and all of this other stuff that was going in it? The politics of his contract that the Broncos front office didn't want to go ahead and respect and allow Russ to get those numbers that he needed to get the contract incentives. Like, that's just wrong. He dealt with a lot of BS that was going on. I put it that way. So, I mean, Russ is damn a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. You can't sit here and just completely throw what he's done last season, not even what he's done 4 or 5 years ago, what he's done last season out the window, just because the hype isn't there. And then with Justin Fields, I don't know where the Justin Fields hate comes from, bro. Like, I think it mainly comes from Bears fans who was just disappointed in what he was doing, but ultimately, Justin Fields is not a bad quarterback. We're yet to see this guy thrive, and because he hasn't played with a line. He hasn't played with many receiving options. When he was in Chicago, they didn't dress up the Bears offense like they're doing with Caleb Williams. Hell no. Justin Fields was lucky if he had a second to think about an open target he wanted to throw the ball to. They gave him no time. His offensive coordinator was, I'm going to just be respectful and say his offensive coordinator was not very smart. His offensive coordinator was calling all kind of bad type of calls and stuff. They couldn't find a groove. He didn't have many options at receiver. Only guy he had was DJ Moore, and we seen them two connect on multiple levels whenever they could. The defense was nowhere near as good as they are now. They were injured. Their play call was bad as well. So this guy has been in a bad circumstance for the 3 years he's been in the league, and all of a sudden, people are going over top talking about he's a bad quarterback. He's a bad quarterback. So, you know, it's wild. They have good options here. They're not stuck in the sand. They're not stuck. Only thing that will be tough is, like, obviously, you know, winning the division and stuff, which is an ultimate goal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you want that to be a goal. But realistically, they still got some time to improve, and they still got the team to make something happen because the quarterback is the only position where they're seriously struggling with. The offensive line is solid. The defense, solid. You don't have to worry about much over there on those ends. It's just a quarterback. Who's going to be the one throwing the ball? Who's going to be the one handing the ball off to the running back? So I think the Steelers, they'll be all right. But I will say, I'm going to be honest too, regardless of who's the starter, we'll probably see another change in the week by week 6. So if they name Russell Wilson the starter, I'm sure we'll see Justin Fields starting by week 6 and vice versa. If we see Russell Wilson get sent to the bench and Justin Fields is the starter, I'm sure we will see Russell Wilson come in and start by week 6. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough and entertaining. Personally, I think I would go the route of starting Russell Wilson. He has the experience. He has, you know, the numbers to prove it, and he's a Super Bowl champion. And that way, more particular, I say put Russell Wilson in the spotlight to start, because if he is playing bad and you do need to sit him down, at least you know your guy, Justin Fields, is going to come in ready. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's been trying to prove himself ever since he got to the league. People said he was a bad quarterback. They said he was a bust, waste of time, waste of a draft pick. All that, they've been clowning him just because he had a bad run-in with the Chicago Bears who didn't do anything for him. So Justin Fields coming off the bench, he's going to come out with some fire underneath his belt, and then he'll be ready. Versus where Russ coming off the bench, he might feel a little hurt about that. He might want to go somewhere else. You know, he's an older guy. He's on his way out the league pretty soon. So, you know, that's the way I would look at it. But ultimately, hey, Steelers, they better get it together, because by the time they get past week 6, that's when they're going to start seeing them division matchups. And it's going to get real tough by then, because you're going to have to play the Bengals, the Browns, the Ravens. You're going to be seeing some dogs by then. This first 6 weeks is easy for you. Or I ain't going to say easy, but you got some subpar teams in here. Falcons is not one of them subpar teams, but Broncos, Chargers, Colts, Cowboys, Raiders. Those are the teams you see. But after that, oh yeah, it's going. You got to see the Bengals twice. You got to see the Browns multiple times. You got to see the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Jets. Oh yeah. They got some guys coming in. But anyway, look, man, Hey, shoot us a quick take. If you heard something you agree with, you disagree with, or you like, or you dislike, shoot us a quick take. 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. We would love to hear what you think about some of the things that we've talked about. And other than that, though, look, man, that's all we got for you today. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with a positive note here. And on this positive note, I'm going to just say, hey, you'll never get there if you decide to quit. I'm going to just say that. Despite all the goals you might have thought and all the goals that you've pictured in your head, you'll never get there if you decide to quit. So just don't quit. Just don't quit. Just keep going. Just keep going. I promise it's easier. It's going to be tough. Whatever. You might have to take a break. You might have to walk it out. You might have to sit it out, whatever. But if you quit, you ain't going to ever get there. You're just going to think about what could have been. And that's the last thing you want to do. All right, look, other than that, man, hey, that's all I got for y'all today, man. Share this with a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a coworker, a friend, a family member, anyone you know, a neighbor who may enjoy anything I talked about. Just go ahead, shoot it their way. I promise you they not gonna mind. If anything, they'll say, thank you. That dude was dope as hell, bro. All right, look, man, I'm up out of here. And I didn't forget. I know some of y'all are probably going to be like, damn, what happened to the AFC predictions? I didn't forget about that. We're still going to do the AFC predictions, but got to space it out a little bit because the season is coming up, but I need to time it perfect. But it'll be here this week, so don't worry about it. I know I said that last week, but I promise it'll be here this week. All right, look, man, other than that, I'm up out of here, and I'll see y'all later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.
Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run, the Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405, and we will play your take back on our next episode. Now, look, man, we got a lot to cover. It's some simple things, but it's all good stuff. One of the most interesting things, though, this is really not on the agenda at all. I'm completely off script as I say this. One, the Tigers won opening day. Happy about that. NCAA tournament going on. UConn just won. I think the other game just finished too, but whatever. I'll check. I'll give you updates on that. But the most important thing, most important thing is bro, the diddler, bro. Have y'all been keeping up with P. Diddy and all the craziness that's been going on, bro? Like, I got topics to talk about, but bro, that's been interesting. That's more interesting than anything I got to say on here, bro. All this stuff going on with P. Diddy. The documents, the children, and him fleeing and getting on planes and running away, and bro, this stuff is crazy. This is crazy, bro. All of my feeds on social media is just filled up with this P. Diddy stuff, and I'm like, damn, bro, tough break for bro, but I mean, if he did this shit, that's wild. Hey, he deserves every bit of a joke. He deserves it all if he did this. He deserves to run from the feds, and they deserve to get him and everything. And I seen this one thing. They were talking about this is a cloned version of Diddy. I know, I'm way off the wall. I'm way off the wall. I'm so far off the wall in sports right now, but you just got to kick it with me, bro. Whatever. I see that we're talking about this is a cloned version of P. Diddy, bro, because if you look at the pictures from this period and the way we've been seeing lately in terms of his mug shots and stuff, bro got a big ass forehead now, and it's just not the same P. Diddy. So hey, I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. But the funniest thing I've seen, and I'm going to just leave it. I'm going to wrap up. I'm not going to talk about this the whole time. The funniest thing I've seen, though, with P. Diddy and the jokes and everything, one was him and R. Kelly, step something. It was, step Step Brothers. It was a Step Brothers meme, but it was a joke behind it. Of course, I can't remember it. But it was a joke with him and R. Kelly. So that should let you know along the lines of what that was saying. And then the other one was because P. Diddy is always the Joker for Halloween. Bro, they've been calling this man the Diddler. The Diddler. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. They've been making soap operas and stuff. Like, this is going to be a soap opera called The Diddler and Did He Do It? Like, bro, come on, man. That's kind of silly now. Did he do it? Come on, bro. Like, that's silly to me. But look, all right, I'm going to cut to the sports. I'm going to leave it alone. But I had to talk about, it's so damn fascinating to me. But anyway, look, the NFL, bro, they're still in Christmas. Typically, the NBA is always on Christmas. They have Christmas Day. We know the big games are happening on Christmas. The big stars are happening on Christmas. But recently, the NFL announced they'll be playing 2 games on Christmas Day. And although they usually never play any games on Wednesday, and they typically try to avoid playing games on Wednesday, Christmas so happens to fall on a Wednesday. And they said, to hell with all of that. We playing this game on Wednesday. Now, from 1948 through last season, there's only been 2 Wednesday NFL games in history. So, what I'm speculating here is that the NFL is trying to in a slick way, creep in Wednesday night football. Because the reason I say this is we seen this happen with the Saturdays. Last year, they implemented Saturday football, and I was like, where the hell did this come from? Like, football on a Saturday during college football? Why would the NFL do that? And then now this season, they're running it back. Got some more Saturday games in line, and that's going to be happening. We've seen the overseas games. They talked and they announced that there's going to be Friday night football happening a couple times throughout this season. The opener in week 1 with the Eagles in Brazil is going to be a Friday night football game. So they got Sunday, Monday, Thursday, because Thursday night football, Saturday, and now they just announced Friday. So, bro, they spreading out a lot in the NFL. I'm not mad at this because I'm like, bro, get your money. Hey, you're getting a good ratings, all of that stuff. Get your money if you can really capitalize on the viewership and the deals that can come along with this. The thing that I'm worried about more so is the durability of players and the investment of the audience to actually watch every day of the week if this continues to happen, because I think it's going to happen. The NFL lied when the streaming services stuff was happening and said, oh no, this is a one-time thing. And now we can't even watch a game outside of Peacock and Amazon Prime. So I think this is going to end up being a long-term goal of the NFL's is to have games happening weekly, but the more games you play in a week, the less recovery time guys are going to have. So with this whole Christmas Day thing going on, there's going to be teams that play 3 games in 13 days. And that's a lot, bro. That's putting a lot on guys' bodies. They're going to have these knick-knack injuries. And, I'm just concerned if they'll be as durable as you want them to be, especially when the NFL cries, safety, 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 no hip drop tackle. You can't hit them like this. You can't fall on the quarterback. You have to wrap them up this way. You can't touch this guy. You can't touch it. Like, they do all this crying stuff, but yet they're giving these guys less recovery time to play football games. So that's one concern right there. The other concern I have is that Sunday is the perfect day to watch a football game because a majority of people aren't really at work. Most people have off. Obviously, there's a good portion that do work on Sundays, but even Saturdays, the weekends are pretty much solid. I'm okay with any weekend football going on in the NFL because typically that's when people have the least amount of distractions that they have to attend to. On the weekend, you don't have to worry about a lot of different things happening outside of things that were already planned. But Sunday is the golden day. Because it's been happening for years, people know they want to sit in front of the TV and watch NFL Sunday. That's one thing. But when you start adding Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, all of these different days during the week, people are busy, bro. People work 9 to 5s, damn it. People got kids. They got to make sure their car get fixed. They got to go to T-Mobile and make sure their cellular service is right. They got to go get some furniture for the new crib. They got to do all kind of stuff during the week. And adding a football game might backfire. I'm not saying it will, but it does have the potential, because this is the same reason that a lot of people struggle to follow the MLB and the NBA, because there's so many different games in this long season. So there's just so much happening that people aren't really able to attend to during the week. So because the NFL has always been once a week, you were getting it Sunday, and then at an extracurricular, you get Monday and Thursday, and you might miss those games if you are busy during the week, but for sure you are going to be able to watch Sunday night football. When you start adding Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day during the week, it get a little hectic. So that's my only other concern with that area, is because, it can get tough for people to follow and keep up with. So as far as the NFL doing that, obviously we see they have a plan and how they're going to implement this stuff and roll it out. But what's tough too with the Friday night football is when these teams go play in different countries, it's not even on channels we can watch. Like, we're going to have to figure out how we watch this game, because I think you have to be an NBC subscriber to watch this Eagles game in the opener of week 1. So, it's weird, bro. It's weird. And obviously the NFL is going to keep dropping stuff about it, but ultimately they finessed the NBA. Long story short, they stole Christmas.